coffee left. I should probably have gotten more before making my video. Or this doesn't have to be a long one. I'm just feeling a lot right now. Dun, 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 dun. So, you could say my life is defined by passion projects. Every class I ever loved in school was one where they said, you know, go ahead and make it your own. Be creative, do whatever you want for X, Y, or Z assignment. Sorry, my favorite tree is looking cute. I doubt you can even see it. It's my literal favorite tree of all time. It's in the backyard of a house on Penoyer, a yellow house. I don't know that I'd want to have it in my own backyard because then I couldn't see it so well. But that tree has inspired a lot of songs. It's very, 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 very tall. Not like me. Unlike me. I'm really, 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 really happy the way some of these last minute things came together. This new In the Clouds compilation album wasn't quite blending visually, I thought. And then changed some of the pale background colors and then found this picture where actually the original picture is really beautiful. Let me see if I can get it. But I couldn't get it to be a banner. But I just liked that view over our house. That's our house right there. And then seeing, you know, it's like a tunnel of trees. It's like a frame of trees. But I couldn't get that all to be the banner. But these were all very last minute decisions. I work really well under the wire. Let me put it differently. I work harder under the wire. I am actually a very, very slow worker, but like I put a lot of time and a lot of breaks in between things, and it's what makes me willing to just work so much. Even when I'm journaling, I'm kind of working in a way. I'm like always kind of working on myself, working on my heart, working on my emotions, trying to allow things to heal. Like, I mean, right here in my view, I can see the same way some people care for kids. These are some of my nieces and nephews from forever ago. I have like an old lyric booklet here from Tiny Traumas, and this is my last copy of this one, but it was like a very DIY, and it was like, what's it say? Fill in the blank space. What are your traumas? Nothing's too tiny to have made a big difference in who you are. And that was like January 2019, and then there's the track titles. Just doing lots, you know, all that homemade lo-fi kind of crafting of things. Or here's like the sketch for a new album that I haven't released or even announced yet. I mean, I ended up doing digital art with this, but that was just a doodle. Kind of about, I don't know, type A people, the opposite of type A people, and then people who try to bridge the two. That's what the album's about. That was written on June 2nd, right as I was going through some things personally at the same time that the world was going through some things in terms of what can now be pretty safely called like a civil rights movement. I feel like a flood of energy literally moving through me. I think doing these compilation albums, this was just meant to be like a check-in video to say like, holy crap, less than an hour ago, okay, less than 30 minutes ago I pushed send on the Instagram post. I posted it on in the Cloud site, all the information, the links, everything. Then I just copied it to my Jessica and the Rainbow Instagram, and that ended at 1:20. Let's see. Yeah, I got the email out to all the artists, all 54 artists. I got the email out to them by about 12, I think it was 12:14. But I got the album live by noon, like I said I would, so. This is just because I'm proud of myself, because it was very under the wire. I had to stay up till 4 a.m. last night and the night before. Sometimes just to make things look pretty, like I like the idea of the deadline being the last day of the month. Sorry, Brian's texting me. He's listening to the comp right now, and he's telling me his thoughts, and it's the coolest. I love it so much. I love him. He was the first person to purchase it. And he bought it for $12.44, which creeped me out. I shouldn't share these things because I'm so weird. And then I say them out loud and I'm like, I'm getting weirder. But I have a lot of things with the number 12. You can hear in my voice that I haven't slept enough. Oh, noon. That was my deadline. Oh my gosh. I really do need to sleep. I feel like I'm almost gonna cry. Like, I posted something 2 days ago and said, hey, can everyone like basically send me a lot of good energy? I mean, I didn't say that outright. I just said making a post because I'm curating 45 songs right now. Ended up being 54, not 45. But I think I did the best job with this one in terms of, thanks to an email from Major Murphy, Jacob of Major Murphy, like 2 days ago. I was able 2 days ago, even amidst curating this, to remember that I also have to simultaneously be working on the promo info. So while I was working on the music, I was writing the email that would go out to all the artists, and I was writing the press release that would go online, you know, with the links and everything, because with the first one, it took me, I think, all the way till like 8 p.m. on Bandcamp Day, so I don't know that anyone even got, and maybe it was 9 p.m., so I don't know that anyone got to buy it on the day that was the whole point of the Bandcamp waiving the fees. And then even after that, I didn't get the links and everything out in time. And so that was not good press-wise. But then volume 2, but I love that comp. Oh my gosh. And I mean, it was fine press-wise. It just wasn't really timely press-wise. But then volume 2 released like during the week that, well, it was over a week after George Floyd's murder. I don't want to bring that up for my own. I just don't have the emotional strength to speak reverently and even go back to those feelings emotionally. But volume 2 is that, and it's the most cartoonish album cover, which is kind of warped, but that's the one that Maddie Jackson designed. But yeah, I mean, so the way that one, the promotion for that one went was very difficult because I felt bad even staying on schedule and promoting it at all. But that's when we shifted from just raising money for the Pyramid Scheme to the Pyramid Scheme and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. So, you know, raised some money for them, promoted, made a point to ask for more submissions from Black, Indigenous, and people of color, LGBTQIA, and women when we took submissions for Volume 3. But, you know, I've learned, if this helps you, I will say this out loud because it helps me to think this way, but I've learned that all I can do is, like, invite people. Like, I can't control. How do I want to say this? This is true for submissions, and this was also true for direct requests. Like, I can't make people be, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to say this. Well, here, I'll say it through Ladyfest. This was also designed by Maddie Jackson, a beautiful friend and amazing artist. This was one of her first posters ever. And this is before, she says, like, before she knew much about how she liked doing lettering or whatever. But I love it. It's so cute. I'll show you another one. Oh, this was actually a poster she made before that. I had a lot of stuff up on it, but she made these cute little Yetis. Maybe she said she didn't like some of her lettering because it was a little hard to read. Like, but I love it. It's so cool. Looks like a, I don't even know. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. This is also one of hers. Yeah, Maddie Jackson Art, I think is the website.com. Maddie Jackson, one of my favorite artists and people, and then also, hey, Ryan Wyrick, one of my favorite artists and people. Very, 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 like, literally blessed feeling, because, like, they're all over my room. both Maddie and Ryan, and both of their spirits make me feel, I don't know how to describe it. Loved, love, yeah, not loved. They both make me feel love. There. That's a Ryan Wyrick original. He's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm off track. What was I even saying? Something about Maddie. Oh, Ladyfest. Oh, okay. So Ladyfest was, the only reason, there was a Ladyfest GR at the time in Grand Rapids that me and Maddie, actually, she played with me in Jessica and the Rainbow. We played in that in 2015, but then I didn't even know it was going to end. It ended up ending in 2016, but, well, it came back, but it ended. But, so that wasn't even why I created this, but I think I created Ladyfest at the Lakeshore just because, like, well, there were a number of reasons. There were some personal ones, but I'm going to tell you the social ones, which ties into what I was saying. The social reasons that I created it is because it was very painful for me to look around and see people who were really, really talented, like Maddie Jackson, although hers was just because she was young. Like, she would have been fine. But it was painful for me to see them and then not see them have enough opportunities coming their way. And so I became someone who started creating opportunities for people. For myself, too. I mean, it was hard to watch myself age. Aging is hard, FYI, if you didn't know. Not just because you start, you know, all your many years of going like this all the time. Which if you look at every picture from when I was younger, I always am like this. With the forehead. But, like, who cares? Like, I don't care now. But I did care. But aging is very weird. Like, I mean, also, I just have, like, weird, like, autoimmune stuff, maybe, but who cares? I'm not trying to talk about that right now. My point is, you know, and plus, I was, like, an artist in Chicago for a long time. Like, at least, I did it there for, like, 5 years before I moved to Michigan. And so starting over somewhere where nobody knows you, and there's already a music scene. There was a Grand Rapids music scene. There was a Lakeshore music scene, West Michigan Lakeshore, and there were, like, house shows and DIY places and Elks Lodge places and basement venues and Muskegon, Holland, Grand Haven. All of them had music scenes, and none of them knew me, so I was nothing here. And then same with Grand Rapids. Like, even if I submitted to things, you know, that wasn't, you're not known. And so that could be a part of what caused that too. But I think it really was more that I was working at a high school. I got to know all these people who were super talented. I just saw people everywhere super talented and floundering, or super talented and internalizing a lack of success or connection, which is what I was doing. But I mean, I think it was a mirror. It was so, and it just seemed so obvious, like, well, then let's create opportunities. So with a festival, I learned pretty quickly that, like, those often need, like, a board of directors or something, and I'm just not good at a lot of things. Part of the reason, to get back to this, part of the reason this works so well for me is that Brian knows me, knows my energy. You know, we've been in a band together for years, but more importantly, we've lived a life together for many years now. And he just knows that I'm very in my head, very, very, very disorganized. And so it's funny to think that, like, 120 tracks and here's the thing, I'm disorganized. I'm like madman organized. Like, it's in 6 different folders and I have it all memorized where everything is. But that doesn't work for collaborating. Like, I couldn't tell you what my workflow is. I just know it. It's in my head. And so that works really well for working alone. But if you're somebody who wants to feel connected to the world, unless the world constantly gives you opportunities, like if someone else was constantly making Ladyfests and inviting me to play, or making compilation albums and inviting me to submit, and then giving me opportunities to communicate with and meet all the people who also submitted. And I think that's the thing. Even if someone was giving me all these opportunities, the thing that I love about doing this is that I get to interact with all these people. I get to talk with them. I get to say thank you. I get to, honestly, that sounds so lame, but I think that's half the reason I do this. I have a very resilient spirit that wants to be positive despite all the trauma that's occurred in my life. Like, clearly, like, someone gave me this mug. I wish you a day full of rainbows. Like, how cute. That's my grandma's angel tree topper from Christmas. That's my favorite lamp. I have unicorn mug covers. Like, clearly I'm spending my life cheering myself up. And I believe in it. Like, my favorite Care Bear is Cheer Bear. There's one by the entrance of our house. Those are like thank yous and I love yous and art from all my nieces and nephews, and even from all my like adults in my life who love me, like my parents. My mom has little notes that she's handwritten thanking me for piano lessons. Like, I don't hang those up there to congratulate myself. I hang those up there to cheer myself, because I'm actually oftentimes not smiley. And the reason this exists is because Brian and I have spent 2.5 years making these house shows and filling our house with all this love. And even pre-pandemic, I noticed there was no online, unless we trust Facebook only or Instagram, there was no online way of understanding what it was we had done here. There was no online way that people could re-experience what they said they experienced when they came here. And so, you know, even if it is just for one listen through today and getting these little texts from Brian popping up about liking this track and liking that track. And, you know, this is the first time, the newest one, the one that just released 43 minutes ago. This is the first time I've taken submissions. And so it's like, kind of like that feeling when people write you out of the blue and say, hey, we need a tour stop, we need a place to play. And or like artists that I loved and reached out to years ago for different reasons, and then found out they were going on tour and then offered our house, and a couple of them actually worked out, like Brianna Morella. So many. I was about to start listing, and then I was like, I'm so tired. I was going to show you what this work looks like. There's notes next to them because some people would send waves, which I needed, but if they sent MP3s, I could either ask them to send a wave instead, or I could do the converting myself. I had to master, raise some levels. That's just one side. There's some more. Hope I didn't show you anything weird. Whew. That's just one list. That's the old list, actually. These are recent ones because I was testing 7, 8, 9 was my method. I noticed if I listened through headphones on my phone, if I used 7 bars, that's my comfort level for what's the quiet background music way. Oh my gosh, that B is huge. And 8 was like my happy volume, and 9 was like my it's maxed volume. And so I was figuring out like which tracks were a little too quiet based on that. Like, some of them, when you had it at 7, I didn't even enjoy it. And some of them, like 9, 8, 10, or I mean, yeah, 9, 10, 11, like, some of them were, like, too quiet. It's a weird system, whatever. That was my way of kind of figuring out what's the range of the song, volume-wise, you know. And then, like, mastering notes. Oh, my gosh. And then like a final to-do list. That's how my lists look towards the end. I just don't like wasting paper, and I just get real scribbly. But this was, you know, they start out as really like, I don't know, like setting the standard, good, maybe louder, bring Derek down, almost too loud, not present enough, da, da, da. So like I have mastering software, and then I can like, it's a cute journal. I can run it through the mastering software. Anyway. Welp. Almost out of coffee. I suppose I should take a nap. 2 nights of 4:20, 4:30-ish in the morning going to bed. I feel like a kid who just completed a really epic science project, or like diorama in 4th grade. I made a really cute one where I made a cheetah out of clay, and it was so cute. Or I don't remember if it was actually cute, I just remember I loved it so much, and I think my dad or my mom called it cute, and I know my teacher liked it. And I honestly don't remember. I'm sure I got an A because I got a lot of A's, but I don't remember comparatively if it was really that great. It's more just that I remember being proud of that one, and in hindsight, it's like, I got a lot of A's, but why does that cheetah diorama stick out for me? And I think I need to remember that it might be because I loved that one the most. It might have nothing to do with whether or not other people gave me compliments or praise, because sometimes I think I'm a praise junkie. Like, why am I doing this much work? Like, this literally took me at least 50 hours of work, unpaid, to raise money for charity. And honestly, if I'm going to do 50 to 75, maybe even 100, and I'm talking just this one, because with all the messaging, I mean, for all the people that ended up on it, that's like 20%, 50% of the people that I wrote. No, 40, 30%. Yeah. I wrote like almost 3 times as many people as are on these and messaged with them. Some didn't come through, some never wrote back, but some wrote back and we talked and then still didn't come through. Oh, that's what I was saying about Lady Vest. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let me finish this point. Praise junkie. I do like praise, but I think at the end of the day, the real reason I like praise is because I like being useful and I like connecting the dots. I like connecting things. I like connecting people. I like being connected, but I don't like being overwhelmed and I don't like not being myself. And that's a confusing dichotomy because in a lot of scenarios, if I'm in a group, if the group has too strong of a personality or a tone, I lose myself. And then I don't have to become, but I end up becoming like when I tried to get into politics in late 2016, I end up overwhelmed and crying or shutting down. And so that doesn't work. So I have to be in group scenarios where there isn't a clear group tone. I've even joined support groups where the group tone gets so loud. It's this loudest voice in the room syndrome thing that I have. It's not a syndrome. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm tired. But like I get really affected by the loudest voice in the room and I watch the whole room sort of become the vibe of that loudest opinion. And then if it's not in line with mine, well, I'm actually a very strong person inside my core. I'm just not a strong external kind of extrovert kind of person. And so if that person causes me to bristle, I can't just follow them. That's middle school. I can't do that again. I did that like 8 times or 18 times in middle school and high school and college. And I mean, by college, I think I had learned how to be in a group and just kind of do my own thing. Like I was even in a sorority, but it was just a drinking club. And I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying it wasn't one that you lived in. It was just, I did the college thing. And older people bought us alcohol, and then we went to formals and dressed cute and sang weird songs. But I wasn't super in it, if that makes sense. Like I made posters with them, and I was the song mistress, I think was one of the things. And I like curated all the songs and wrote songs. I just realized that. Same with when I was at Badger Girls State. I was one of the 2 people from my high school picked to go do this extracurricular week-long thing at the University of Wisconsin-Madison because they thought I would go into politics, which is hilarious to me now, but I ended up being voted into a role as the song mistress or the song writer of the country, the fake country or state or whatever we were. Oh my gosh, that's really funny to me that the only times I ever fit into organizations, both Badger Girl State and Delta Gamma, I was just in charge of songwriting. And every time I tried to do a different role, I wasn't good at it. I think the only other role I did well at that one was that there was something you could do for freshmen where it involved like making construction paper signs and hanging them on their college dorm room doors. And they were just like cute, and like you learn how to do like lettering with dots at the ends. I don't have paper and I'm way too tired to do this, but whatever. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. If Jessie Seberg's ever watching this, yeah, she and I were like opposites. She was really good at the get her done kind of stuff, and I was really good at the artsy behind the scenes stuff, and we were a good team. My life is weird. I feel like I've been like at least 10 different people, and a lot of the times it's because I was following other people, but sometimes it's not even necessarily all in a bad way. Like I liked that chapter of my life in a lot of ways, and I liked when I was in New York and I was in a grad program where we all talked about musical theater all the time. I was never into musical theater. I just wrote one musical, and it was autobiographical and warped and kind of an FU. No offense, sorry, college. Because they didn't let me do my Bachelor of Arts in Songwriting degree that I wanted, and so I ended up with 2 majors and a minor in piano performance, dramatic literature, and English, and, well, music, theater, and English. And then I just wrote and directed and performed in a musical as my honors thesis project for all 3, because I was like, I'm over this. And then I ended up liking the musical, but then a professor encouraged me to submit it to this program in New York, and that's how I ended up in grad school for musical theater writing at NYU Tisch School of the Arts. But like, I wasn't that into musicals before that. I just did it as a job. I was like a music director for a community theater called Racine Youth Players, where I grew up. And I did that like 4 summers and wrote one sarcastic, sardonic, autobiographical or semi-autobiographical musical, and suddenly I'm going to grad school with a bunch of people who like love musicals. And anyway, but I brought that up to say, like, it was a chapter, it was a phase where I, and then I ended up like almost music directing on Broadway, or almost understudying to music direct on Broadway. I was hired as an understudy for an off-Broadway show. It's pretty flippin' cool now, in hindsight. Hello, Mudda, hello, Fada. I learned the whole piano part. I don't know. Oh my gosh, why am I bringing this up? Because I've changed so many times. I guess what I'm saying is it can be really painful to have lived not only so different ways inside of yourself, but to have had so many different influences, because I love those musical theater people, and to this day, some of my best friends, I met them at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. Some of my favorite people on this planet are, there's 3 people specifically who became like a little weirdo club for me, and it got me through a really hard time, but it was just working at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp with a bunch of theater professors who, in their summers, from being theater professors, they came and taught it to middle schoolers and high schoolers at a fine arts camp, and I was the accompanist. And it's like, those are very different influences than my indie music scene influences. Like, very, very different. Like, in terms of what's valued, in terms of how people talk. Like, I don't know in what world I've lived in until this one, where I would have been so excited about this show poster that I made with Micah from Breathe Owl Breathe. This was the last house show for In the Clouds. He just sent me these goofy little sketches because he's an artist too, I said too, I call myself an artist, but like, when we first played together, or this was our second show together, he made this poster, which is like, a little more normal art, quote unquote, although it's marker. And all these people I've gotten to know kind of gave me permission to feel like I have value in my scrappy ways. I never would have made 2 of the 3 In the Clouds album covers. I never would have called myself an artist. I'm not trained. But I am. I think Ryan Wyrick, he's the one who told me that, the one who I say would be a real artist. But like, he's like, no, you're like a mixed media collage artist. Or I felt like I was stealing collage from Ryan, and he was like, I didn't invent collage. Anyway, but I just like made this out of Brian's old apartment with Nick, they made Kuibiko together, which is track 1, and like, even just the fact that these compilations capture like so many of my friends and Brian's friends and like people that we've known or played shows with, like, I'm getting myself all worked up here. But like, this has Kuibiko on it. This one has Chef Goldblum on it. Trying to think what other like meaningful another personally meaningful thing. With Volume 3, so Lamplight Music Festival. It's way over there. Oh, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. With Lamplight Music Festival, that was a really important moment for me. That's pretty much why I stayed in West Michigan. At first, it was, I met Brian, and that's why I ended up really staying. But why I considered it a place that I could really stay was because I was finding so much indie music here that I'm getting so worked up. Oh my gosh. I'm so overtired. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, so like 2014. I think I went in 2013 to Lamplight Music Festival. There's the 2017 artwork and poster. I was an MC that year. That's when I met Micah, Breathe Out Breathe. That's also when I met, well, I think we had met them, but that's when we talked and hung out a little bit. Mutual benefit. They're really great, like unbelievably great. And they're on volume 1. This is like, this video could be called like hashtag make your dreams come true. Like make your own dang dreams come true. Like just do stuff. Where was I going with that? Oh, Lamplight. So I probably would have moved away, but I like borderline hero worshipped the people that I saw at Lamplight when I went. I had just gotten a divorce. It was 2013. I was still working at this high school, playing piano, sometimes like 10 hours a day. My wrists were killing me all the time. I had no friends, or very, very, very few friends. My Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp friends were only there in the summer. I think even students, even these high school students, were worried about me all the time. They could tell I was sad. I was deeply sad because my divorce was very hard. And I could have moved away around them. And then in January, I think maybe the 19th or the 18th of 2014, I met Brian working at Jumpin' Java, the coffee shop. And we might have crossed paths before that because I found an old journal where, well, I'm not going to share that. That's personal. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think he was the assistant manager there yet, but he became it after we were dating. Anyway, we just like kind of fell for each other really quickly. So, and I still could have moved away because I think he and I both knew we were in times of a lot of transition, and I could have prioritized my own transition over this new fledgling relationship. But A, I'm a romantic. B, I could feel like not just chemistry, but like almost spiritually something between he and I that was very profound. And I could feel it so early, like the first day or hug or the first time we checked out each other's music online and we left notes for each other on each other's pages. And it's not like the hundreds and hundreds of people that I message with. It wasn't like that. And I guess I don't know how to say that without sounding way too hopeless romantic, but because I also do believe in choice. I believe that when you fall for somebody, a lot of it is a choice, and how you choose to nurture those connections is up to you. How you choose to complain versus celebrate, like complain versus appreciate. Because no relationship is easy and naturally just works itself out. Like it's work, it's effort, just like work. Just like every show, every project I've ever put on, everything's work. You know, if you want to help another person feel loved, you don't just kind of casually go with how you feel all the time. Like I don't know how to describe it. You bite your tongue, you suck it up, and you do some things you don't want to do. Like, it's compromise. It's all those things. And I think we're living in an era, as you can see politically, and a lot of other things, where people think things should just come naturally and be easy. Otherwise, blah, 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 blah. I'm too tired to give this point too much weightiness, but I don't think things are easy. That's not how I think the world is. I think if you love something, then that's a choice then to demonstrate it. Same with my best friend relationship with my sister. If I love her so much, then I better flip and demonstrate it. Not just sit there and enjoy her demonstrations of it. How is that love? That's selfishness. If I just sit there and enjoy her demonstrations of love and I just do whatever I feel and whatever comes naturally. It's a weird balance because I do believe in doing what comes naturally. I really do. So I think you have to figure out what are your strengths. My strengths are being an introvert. This is me talking to myself. I'm just trying to share these things with you. The same way if I were a writer, if I were organized enough to write a book, that's what all these videos are. I'm writing a book for you right now. I am telling you, and no one's going to edit it because no one has the time for me to edit all my ideas and thoughts. But I'm putting these down and I'm leaving them somewhere because I've always wanted to, I've never wanted to like write a memoir like my life is so great. I think my life has a lot of failure in it and a lot of misfires and a lot of ways that I'm not a success, certainly not a financial success. But I think what I am is I'm like, if there's a seed planted in the ground, I'm like a adversity success, you know? And I want to leave to you, not that I think I'm going to die soon, I hope. I have dreams. I'm getting older. But like, I hope to leave little lessons, little messages, like little fortune cookie messages, you know? This is how you get through this adversity, this one, you know? I mean, as recently as last year, I was in a deep mope fest where I felt like everyone was not necessarily against me. And this is not me saying, and now I learned they aren't. It's not that. It's not... There isn't a time when the world will suddenly stand up on a platform and say, you were wrong, we aren't against you. It's just, what's your life experience in your mind? In my mind, I was telling myself a story that people didn't really want me to do this or that, you know, and I got lost in that story a little bit late last year. And this year, there's just so much going on in the world, and there's just so many times where it would be so easy to tell yourself a negative version of the same story that you could easily spin a positive version of, but the facts of the story are the same. I'm a very tiny piece in a giant machine. But if I choose to make my piece bigger by exerting more effort, and if some people choose to be grateful for it, and if other people choose to either ignore it or worse from my experience, resent it or be frustrated or think that I think I'm so great or whatever people might think, I can choose which of those people I want to focus on. Who's sending me the energy that helps me feel like these plants that are growing, and who's sending me energy that makes me feel like the world's against me, and how can I focus on the people that are sending me the type of energy that makes me feel like a plant in the sun, and not focus on the people that make me feel like I have something to prove, or like I'm withering and dying. And no offense to those people, I think that we all trigger each other constantly. I've had to put I don't even put boundaries up. I would honestly say what I've been learning in the last couple months is that it's not that I have boundaries, but I have a choice in focus. So if somebody keeps... And this is coming from like watching a lot of law of attraction videos, which I've accidentally started clicking favorite. So if you go in what I thought was going to be a collection of my favorite of my videos, so that you would have a place where you could find my favorites, now you'll see there's even some law of attraction videos in there. But like, all it is, okay, I'm getting really lost in all this. Anyway, my point was, like, I focus on rainbow stuff. Not because I don't think clouds and lightning and destruction and fire and volcanoes and death and people going to hell, and whether or not there even is a hell, but creating their own personal hell, I have no idea. It's not that I think any of those things don't exist. But this is what I focus on. Because I think this exists too. It existed in the 80s. When I was a kid, and I was watching Care Bears, and I was doodling in notebooks, and I was making up my own cartoon characters, and that's where all of this type of inspiration comes from for cute giant bunnies. And I bought that, oh my gosh, when I had my root canal. I just remembered that, you know, or plants. For a while I wasn't good at plants, so I didn't have plants, because I wouldn't remember to care for them. So plants can even be something to make you depressed. It doesn't matter if all your friends say plants will make you feel so good. If you forget about them, and then all you do when you see your plants is feel guilty, then plants aren't for you, at least not right now. And so maybe other things like, aw, that's bird art from Ryan Lyric. I'm really grateful for all these people. And I think sometimes I forget, because I've spent so long trying to build my own identity up to feel better about myself after a life of a lot of sad things. I forget to just really honor that, like, the things that I've used to build myself up are usually related to other people. And so if I haven't seemed grateful enough to the community around me, please let this insane amount of effort that I'm doing with this 120 121 songs on In the Clouds. Maybe it's 122. I actually don't know. Please know that this effort is because a wise person, I won't say who because then I sound like a fangirl of my, well, I'll say it of my own boyfriend, but like a wise person once told me that context is important. And so, you know, we're doing all this stuff, and I have all these posters and I have all these videos where I talk about this scene and playing shows and what playing shows feels like and what sharing music feels like and what my social or performing anxiety, well, show day anxiety feels like. And I have all these videos talking about like what my music career or even just my music hobby career, whatever you want to call it, feels like, but I wasn't maybe having enough places where I really focus on what that context feels like, you know? It can't just be Facebook or Instagram posts that's making me feel like a tiny piece in a very large network. And it's a network in Michigan. There's a music scene. There's like multiple music scenes in Michigan. There's a DIY tour postings where I met people. I mean, I'm just rambling now. Anyway, my point is that it's a huge web. Just like cities inside of a country, it's like inside the music scene, there are pockets of scenes and there are pockets of, some of it is friend groups, but some of it is just loosely connected people who know each other. Like it's, and there's ways to fall into delusion around it, thinking everyone else is some sort of chummy buddy system and you're on the outside, or conversely, to accidentally hero worship people who maybe, you know, I've chased after people in my own mind or sometimes in a message and then they wouldn't respond. There are some people in the music scene who just won't respond, period. And I've had to learn not to take that as like something about me, but it is something about the dynamic of being a fan who wants something from somebody. Like, because I've had to learn that too if I've ever had fans. And I don't have a lot of these types of fans, almost none. But like, if someone's like needing things from you or needing more than you can give, sometimes there's no good way to explain it. And so maybe when I've ever chased after people, they just didn't know what to say. For some people, maybe they just have anxiety and they just can't message directly with their fans. I don't know. But there's a lot of things I've taken personally that perhaps are not personal. So that's what I'm learning. These are some rambles. I think there was something I was sharing about Lamplight. Why I stayed here, fell in love with Brian. Anyway, yeah, saw Lamplight. Went again the next year. I had never been a person who went to music festivals. I still am not. I've never gone to a music festival other than the one that we play at. And it's, I've heard, not like a normal music festival. It's called Earthwork Harvest Gathering. And that's another one of those scenes that I'm mentioning, Earthwork Music. And Seth Bernard, who also runs Title Track, or co-runs it, which is who this is a thing in support for. But I want to click update and see if more people have bought it, because it says supported by down here. Maybe they have, but not people who are Bandcamp people with profiles. That's a cute picture of Sam. Anyway, so Earthwork, Lamplight, those are two of the main organizations. And Lamplight Music Festival was just like a house show music festival. So it was like a ton of houses that had concerts. And so huge inspirations for what we do within the Clouds, which ours is just low-key. It's just me and Brian. And we just have artists play in our basement, play in our living room. You've seen both of those places. Like, it's nothing. It's something. It's everything. Like, it's everything to us in terms of what our outlet is for throwing shows. It's something in the scene. It's a small thing, but it's a meaningful thing, I think. I think people really around here appreciate it. We've been told by many artists that it's their favorite place to play, or favorite place they've played. I won't say who, because I don't want to call them out. I mean, who knows if they would feel good me saying that. Maybe they wouldn't. It's too light for you to see the cute screen. Anyway, I probably should go to sleep. It's 2:30. Might as well be like 2:30 in the morning for how I'm feeling. I just wanted to capture my feelings post making this final In the Clouds compilation. I feel very proud of myself, and that's a hard emotion for me to feel. I feel like I should go to Baskin Robbins with my dad and get a clown ice cream cone. Those were my favorite. They had a bubblegum nose, and they had frosting, like little faces made out of, or frosting, and then the little trim around the cone had little frosting things, and it was like frozen frosting, and it tasted better than the ice cream itself. Baskin Robbins. Although we called it 31 Flavors because that's what it was called there. And it was on Durand Avenue in Racine, Wisconsin. I think it was on Durand. Yep, and we went there after every like band concert or like something that we did, like if we were in a play, we got to go there. Piano recital and get an ice cream cone. Wow, food rewards. No wonder I comfort snack at night. I've been trying to address that. I've been talking with my massage therapist. Is also a... I'm deciding whether or not to even get into this. Nah, maybe another time. Very grateful for my 97 followers on YouTube. Very grateful for our followers of In the Clouds. Very grateful for people who come to our space. Grateful for people who I know wanted to be on one of these compilation albums, like xoxo, but then got busy. I know Jess Kramer had mentioned trying to do something. There's other people. I know Fade wanted to, but couldn't because of their label. I'm just looking around, and Perrin wanted to, but didn't get it done in time. It's just... I just don't even know how to. And then I'm sure there's people I forgot to write, but that's why it's like, you know, I just can't. That's what I was talking about. I can't bear that burden all myself anymore. So for a while it was like, did I ask everyone? That kind of stress used to weigh on me. And then I made Volume 3 open to submissions. And you know what? If people aren't following me anymore, it's not my responsibility. I'm saying this because I literally thought it was, which is terrifying. But it's not my responsibility to remember everyone who's ever played here, everyone we've ever played shows with in other places, and make sure I message each of them personally and ask them if they want to have a song on it. That's the guilt I walk around with all the time. This is me being angry at myself. Hey, Jess, you are not responsible for that. Anyone else would look at how much you do and say, you realize that's like way more than what most people do in your position. Most people in my position would focus on their own music and learn how to get it better, producing wise, or like I have 7 albums in my, and I'll show you because why not? If anyone has watched this long, they must be a fan and they deserve to know how many albums I have in the works right now and how close they are to done or not. All right, those are all my drafts. I don't know if you can see them because of the light, but those are all draft albums. I guess it's only 6 right now. Known/Unknown will probably come out pretty soon, in a lo-fi way. That's the 4 songs I wrote on the live stream back on May 8th. Socially distant songs. I'm going to try to compile all the like ukulele. Not all. I need to stop saying all. I can't be complete about it. And I learned that within the clouds. Like, I sent so many messages, and then I felt guilty, like, if I didn't follow up with everyone equally to remind them. But there's some people I, like, wrote and reminded, like, 4 or 5 times. And it's just like, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out, and it's okay. Like, some of them, it was just an opportunity to get to write with them. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. And I was also feeling a lot of guilt at like, oh my gosh, what if I lost a message inside all the messages? But I don't know anyone who curates 121 artists. I don't know if that number's right. 32 plus 40 plus 54. 126? 32. 86. Yeah, I think 126. It's just not a very special number. I think it was supposed to be 125, but then the go-around sent me their track like an hour before the release happened, and I put it on because I was like, oh, it's the go-arounds. They're amazing. Anyway, Time in the Sky, that's been in the works. Every May 26th I work, or close to every May 26th I work on it. Everything is connected. That's the one I was talking about with that sketch. It's kind of turned into like a rainbow thing. It's not finished, the sketch or the album. Tiny Traumas Volume 2, that's been in the works for a long time. And by in the works, I mean just sitting there. I'm not working on it. But I love those songs. They're from the 365 challenge, and they were the ones done in MIDI, in Pro Tools. They were the ones Brian loved and was like, whoa, you should do them all in Pro Tools and let me use this key. And then I didn't do them all in Pro Tools. But I would have been so overwhelmed if I'd done them all in Pro Tools, because these ones I feel really guilty that I haven't worked on more because they're so good technically, because they're in Pro Tools rather than scrappy at my piano or scrappy out on the street with a ukulele. And so like, I think I just feel a lot of burden to work a lot of the time. Upward, A Corn Dream, I started editing that like crazy, and I'm going to try to release that on Brian's birthday, because I leave a lot of mouth noises and strum noises and chair bench scooching noises in albums because I have too many projects. But this one, I told him over and over, I'm like, that one I want you to hear. Like, and he listens to tons of my stuff, an insane amount, considering that in a relationship, it really shouldn't be like a fan and artist thing. Like, plus he's an artist. He's like super brilliant. He's working all the time on things for Cloudlight. He just works differently than me. He focuses on a few things and really refines. And I kind of love splatter paint, metaphorically. And also my skills are different than his, because I went to like a music conservatory, and so like he's been focusing on practicing instruments lately, and it's really, really cool and inspiring. I have an instrument though that I need to practice that he doesn't need to practice as much as me, which is my voice. And my voice cracks a lot when I sing and doesn't do what I want it to. So I've taken some voice lessons and I'm trying to keep working on that. Anyway, so Upward, Corn Dream. I like to release things on people's birthdays that I love, but I don't tell them sometimes about it, because sometimes, like, I don't want them to think, like, if I release something sad sounding on someone's birthday, like, they're not necessarily correlated. I just like numbers and dates. I'm really overtired. Oh, I guess one more. I was like, I thought there were 7 down there. Well, the other one is that Make Believe this is in pre-order, but I have a lot of work to do on it in order to get it done in time. I even just changed the pre-order date. That was going to release on Brian's birthday. And a note from James. It's really hard for me to have fans, FYI. I became friends with a few of my fans, and I accidentally, I'm not very good at it. And I'm not very good at Patreon either, because I'm not very good at understanding sort of like, how do I bring people a little closer into my world? I don't know. It's very confusing to me, because I love having fans. But I mean, you can tell from what I was just saying, like the burden that I feel with work, and the burden that I feel to always be working, or to invite everyone and include everyone and message everyone. Like, you can't have fans and be like that. You just can't. You can't. Like, if I had truly 100 fans who like messaged me all the time, I couldn't be who I am. In both regards. I couldn't work as hard as I work, or work as often as I work, in that introverted, private space, sort of magical float off into the clouds, like you're a ghost bird sort of way, or whatever I am. Spirit bird. I don't know. Like, you can't do that if you feel tethered to 100 conversations, or 100 people kind of wanting from you. And so I think something in me has resisted ever having fans like that. And I see famous people, and I'm not saying that I'm at that quality level anyway. I mean, I don't know how to produce, and I don't have the money or the patience to take. I mean, I know how to produce, but I produce scrappily. My hero is Daniel Johnston and other like lo-fi homemade artists. Like, now that I'm on the lo-fi artist collection, Raincoat Collective, I feel a lot more comfortable just saying it. Like, this is what I am. And the reason I am is because I know people can produce way better than me, musically speaking. I know people can. I don't even know why I'm moving so much right now. Probably because the lighting is weird, and also the background is weird, and everything is weird, and I'm weird, and it's just what it is. There. Hello, plants. Anyway, but also bills. See, views are important. There. Cute stuff. I know people who can produce really well. I'm not one of them. I don't ever know what I'm doing. I tried to have Brian become my producer. That caused some challenges in our relationship for a while because I want to move so fast paced. And, you know, for me, like, oh, let's just quick release this 15-song album. Well, if somebody wants to produce it to the level of someone in a recording studio, that's not a quick thing. That's a thing you put a lot of care into and you scour over it for a long time. And so, or at least someone like him maybe would. So, and plus, I mean, just who needs that stress on your relationship? Even being in a band together is like an added layer of complexity. I have an eye crusty. Sorry. But he teaches me stuff. And if I had questions, I could certainly ask him, but I think I'm just too impatient to. In general, with music, with everything. I think it's because the flow of songs just feels so intense. I mean, I'm constantly wanting to write new stuff. So it's like hard to then go back and honor old stuff. But I'm hoping that this post in the clouds era in my own life feels, oh, I'm on my own now. Oh, wait, that's good. I need to do that. I need to shift gears because in the clouds is going to become like a museum for me now because we're still not going to be having house shows. And these are all going to be there for me to listen to and love and enjoy and let other people love and enjoy. And all I have to do is when the money comes in, mail it off to the places or digitally mail it off to the places. And that's really cool. I should probably keep a little ledger so that I'm not. I screenshot the ones Bandcamp sent. Bandcamp sent X amount to In the Clouds, and then I screenshot them and I just collect the pictures of the amounts. I'm really tired. 2014, 2015, stayed here, Lamplight, Brian, Michigan, didn't mean to stay in Michigan, made stuff for people. I'm going over where I left a loose thread of didn't mean to make a lady fest. Oh, yeah. So like trying to force people to blossom or bloom. It's like it makes me think of the image of taking a pliers to a flower to make it open. It's like, that's what I was doing. I was trying to be like, you three people who I feel could be more than you are, like be in this lady fest and I'll start a festival for you. Oh, you don't want to be in that festival? Well, let me do house shows for you. And let me have you be part of my this and my that, and let me curate this show for you. And that, it's like, it was partly for me. It's always for me because it gives me a boost to feel like I'm a Pema Chodron or a Elizabeth Gilbert or a Julia Cameron, someone helping people creatively unblock and become their fullest self. Like, it gives me a huge boost. And I've done that when I was working with high schoolers. I've done it as a mentor in other scenarios, and it does give me a boost, but it's taking up a lot of my life force. And where I go wrong is when I get more excited about that than the projects that have been given to me by the universe to do. And the only reason I get more excited probably is because I see myself in them. I see my own blockedness and my own sadness. And it's like, okay, well then someone bigger than me, I guess, bigger, more confident about their talents needs to come along and tell me, hey, quit focusing on all these other things. Do your art, do your work, create your stuff, polish your songs, release your music. Like someone in that realm of really knowing how to bring their stuff into the world could probably change my life if they scooped me up and said, hey, you're getting this a little bit wrong. Your focus is a little bit too much on others and not enough on the work itself. And so that's what, not to bash Ladyfest. Ladyfest was wonderful for me to make, and other people got a lot out of it, so they said. So I loved doing it, but by year 2, I was fried because it took so much energy, and I didn't want to try to figure out a board of directors or any of that, and passed it off. Maddie kept doing it. Katie Mansfield did it with me the first year. Also Chantel, and then Sam Andrade kind of co-did it with us in the second year and then took it over. So it ran for 3 years, and then I shifted over to In the Clouds, which some of these posters are in the clouds. And yeah, the rest is history. Toured a little more, did that. But we're in a quarantine now, so there's no shows. But anyway, that's back to back to the point of this, which is in the clouds, which is to say that all of this is a way of like providing context for the world that I have talked about all these years on these videos and just in general on posts like on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm really grateful for all of it. I'm really grateful for you for watching. I'm grateful for my random chapters like Jitter in Rainbow Land, Jessica and the Rainbow in Rainbow Land. Someone recently told me, a fan named Dylan, that he's been watching those. And that meant a lot to me. That gave me a huge boost. Like, oh, that wasn't totally misguided. You know, my weird savior syndrome thinking I can make an hour-and-a-half long show every day, 5 days a week, just because I think other people don't know how to deal as comfortably with difficult feelings as intensely as we were all suddenly dealing with being in lockdown and pandemic. Whereas, you know, I've been working with doing inner work for 10 years and had found ways to take trauma and convert it into light. And so I just felt this like guilt and overwhelm and like I have to do all this and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and that's why that only lasted 11 episodes. Well, it lasted 12, but the 12th one got lost in my hard drive crash. So there's only 11 you can see, and the 12th one is, I could say it's finished. It wasn't finished. I lost 2 segments of what would have been like 12 segments. So I was doing all the segments separately, and they were way too long. Just like this video, just like my life. I mean, no, I want my life to be long, but I mean, yes, I don't know how to edit. So this is me writing a book. This was my memoir just from July 3rd, 2020. Like, who needs this many words? Who needs this many words from me? Who needs this many words from anyone? I swear this is really just about process. If you happen to watch this one and you get something out of it, awesome. Love you. Thank you for watching. Please support In the Clouds. It's In the Clouds, MI, because Michigan, we live in Michigan, and I'm coming to terms with that. And Michigan Dreams helped me come to terms with that. And visiting Colorado helped me come to terms with that. And yeah, didn't mean to live here. I've had a lot of hard trauma. I was going to say trauma and traumatic at the same time. I've had bad things happen to me here. And other places too, but my solution used to be to move. I found out I have nomadic blood, type B. But, you know, I do love Michigan. I don't love bad things that have happened, but I do believe you can convert the energy of a space, even if the space is you. All right, I'm going to go before I think of another thing to say. Bye. I really wanted my face to look like a rainbow right at the end. I want the perfect ending shot. I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm afraid to say bye because I'm realizing how overtired I am. I don't think I'm going to cry. I just really want to honor that I spent 6 hours yesterday, 6 hours the day before, and like, that's why I turned this video on, was to feel this moment. And then I talked for an hour and 4 minutes and didn't feel it. Hold on. It's 2:50 already? Time isn't even totally real. I mean, it is, but it's just a number. Okay. I did it. I'm excited. They exist. Please support. Please be yourself. Please figure out who you are. Please enjoy who you are. Please love yourself. Please stop being so guilty, beating up on yourself over every little thing that you do or don't do well enough. I'm sorry for my part in any of that. If something about my existence makes you feel small or ashamed, Because I'm sure that there are things about all of you that you just are. You're not trying to make me feel small or ashamed. I will leave you with a quote that is up here. What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly.